Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to Ashutosh Coaching Center. Now today we are going to start. The chapter name is Structural Organization in Animals. First, a tissue, the group of similar cell along with the intercellular substance which perform a specific function. इसको हम लोग कहते हैं टिश्यू कहते हैं. सिंपल एपिथेलियम टिश्यू क्या होता है? Simple epithelium tissue is composed of the single layer of cell and representing the basement of membranes and the compound of epithelium and ये सारा काम का बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसका भी फोटो ले ही लो. ओके ये सारा ही फोटो अभी ले ले. इससे बहुत काम आएगा, बहुत ज़्यादा. ये सारे ही बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. सारे ही बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. नाउ स्टार्ट करते हैं. सिंगल एपिथेलियम टिश्यू का. सिंगल एपिथेलियम टिश्यू इज द कंपोज्ड ऑफ अ सिंगल लेयर ऑफ सेल एंड रेस्टिंग ऑन अ बेसमेंट ऑफ अ मेम्ब्रेन. Compound epithelium क्या होता है? Compound epithelium consists two or more than cell layer and has protecting function. And areolar tissue is a type of loose connective tissue present beneath of the screen. And adipose tissue क्या होता है? Adipose tissue is a type of loose connective tissue which has cell specialized to store fats. न्यूरो सॉरी न्यूरोग्लिया क्या होता है? न्यूरोग्लिया क्या होता है? तो a duplicate connective tissue which support and bind together the nerve tissue and in the central nervous tissue. Malphian tubules क्या होता है? Yellow colored hem and filamentous tubules present at the junction of the midgut and hindgut in cockroach and help in the excretion. Urocotlic animals which excrete nitrogenous waste in the form of uric acid. Tight junction. The plasma membrane of the adjacent cell are fused at the interval and they help to the stop substance from the leaking across tissue. Adhering junction क्या होता है? Perform the commenting the function to keep neighboring to cell together. Gap junction facilitate the cell communicate with each other by the connecting and the cytoplasmic or adjoining cell of rapid transfer of ions and small molecules and sometimes big molecules. Anatomy study of morphology of internal organs. एनिमल टिश्यू क्या होता है? तुम लोग जानते ही एनिमल टिश्यू क्या होता है. एनिमल टिश्यू आर द ये कैसे तो रखे. एनिमल टिश्यू क्या होता है? द टाइप ऑफ सेल वेयर सिमिलर सेल कंबाइन एंड मेक्स अ टिश्यू दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ एनिमल टिश्यू. मतलब जैसा एक ऐसा मतलब जब सेम टाइप के सेल मिलके एक टिश्यू बनाते हो तो वही क्या होता है? एनिमल टिश्यू के अंदर आता है. छोड़ो, इसका दे तो रहा है नहीं, इसको स्किप करते हैं, इसको बाद में देख लेंगे. अब है जनरल कैरेक्टर ऑफ इपिथेलियल टिश्यू. इपिथेलियल टिश्यू इज one of the four basic animal tissue along with the connective tissue, muscle tissue and the nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue line the active cavities and the surface of the blood vessel and the organs throughout the body, and the epithelial consists of closely packed and flattened cell that make up the inside or the outside lining of our body of the body areas. There is a little intermolecular material. The tissue is vascular, meaning about the blood vessel and the nutrients, the waste and the exchange occur through the neighboring connective tissue by the diffusion. The upper surface of epithelium is free of or exposed to the outside of the body or the internal body cavity. The basal surface rests on the connective tissue and a thin extracellular layer called the basement membrane, and from the between the epithelial and connective tissue there are the kind of epithelial tissue and the covering and the lining epithelium covers the outside surface and of the body, and the lines internal organs. Glandular epithelium secrete hormones and of other products. Simple epithelium tissue. Simple epithelium tissue on the basis of modification and divides in the four types: squamous, cuboidal, columnar and ciliated. Squamous epithelium क्या होता है? Made of single thin layer of the flattened cell and with the irregular boundary and the bound in the wall of the blood vessel and air sac of lungs. Function as the diffusion boundary. Cuboidal epithelium composed of the single cell layer of tube like cell and found in the duct of glands and the tubular part of nephron in the kidney. Main function is secretion and the absorption. Columnar epithelium composed of a single layer of tail and the slender cell and their nuclei located at the base, and the free surface may have microvilli and found in the lining of the stomach and intestine, help in the absorption and the secretion. Ciliated epithelium is a modified cuboidal or the columnar epithelium and cell bear cilia on their three surfaces and found in the inner surface of the hollow organ like bronchioles and the fallopian tube, and that their junction is to move particles or the mucus in a specific direction over the epithelium. Glandular epithelium क्या होता है? Is a modified cuboidal or the columnar epithelium get specialized for secretion, and the simple glands having unicellular and the isolated cell of the alimentary canal, and the multicellular organs consisting of cluster of cell and as salivary gland, exocrine and the secretory product transported to a point by a mean of a duct, and these glands secrete mucus, saliva, earwax, milk and digestive enzymes. It is endocrine and gland commonly called as a ductless gland, and because the secretory product directly poured into the blood, and the gland secrete hormones. Compound epithelium made up of more than one layer of cell and limited role in the absorption and secretion, and the main function is provided to the protection and against the chemical, mechanical and the stresses, and they covered by the dry surface of the skin and the moist surface of the buccal cavity and the pharynx and the inner lining and of the duct and of salivary gland and the pancreatic juice duct. Okay. Cell duct. The cell of the epithelium are the held together with the little intercellular matrix, and cell junction provide the structural and functional link between the cell, and the tight junction the help to the stop and the substance from the leaking across tissue, and the adhering the junction the perform commenting to keep neighboring organ together. Gap junction facilitate the cell to the communicating the cytoplasm of the adjoining cell and rapid the transfer of ions and the small molecules. Connected tissue क्या होता है? Most abundant and the widely distributed tissue and the special function of the linking and the supporting of other organs and the tissue organs of the body, and the connective tissue include the cartilage and bone, adipose and the bone, and it in all connective tissue except blood cell secrete fibers of proteins and cell called the collagen elastin, and the fiber provides strength, elasticity and the flexibility to the tissue. The presence of the ground substance or the matrix in the between the cell and the modified polysaccharide. Loose connective tissue. Loose connective tissue has cell and the fibers loosely arranged in the fluid, the semi-fluid ground substance. Areolar tissue present beneath the skin and the contain fibroblast and the macrophages and the mast cell and serve as a support framework for the epithelium. Adipose tissue are located beneath at the skin, and the cell are specialized to the stored fats. Dense connective tissue fibers and the fibroblast and are compactly packed, dense, regular, and the collagen fibers are present in the rows and tendons attach skeletal muscles to the bone and ligament attached to the bone to bone. Okay. उसके बाद क्या कर रहा है? डेंस इरेगुलर has collagen fiber and the fibroblast oriented differently, and the tissue is present in the skin, and the specialized connective tissue the cartilage made up of chondrocytes and the collagen fiber, and the bone ground substance is rich in the calcium salt and the collagen fibers osteocyte and the present in the lumina, and the blood fluid connective tissue consists the plasma and the blood cell. Muscular tissue each Each muscle is made up of many long and the cylindrical fiber arranged in the parallel array, and each fiber composed of the numerous and fine fibers called the myofibrils. And myofibrils contract in the response to stimuli, and the muscles play a great role in the movement and locomotion. Skeletal muscle close attached to the skeletal and or the bone cartilage, and the muscles cell are unbranched and the multinucleated, and a number of muscles cell are the bundled together in the parallel fashion, and the sheet of a tough connective tissue includes several bundle of the muscles fi- fibers. Smooth muscle, the smooth muscles fibers tapered or the pointed at the both end and do not show the cross striation, and the cell junction hold them together. They are bundled together in a connective tissue test sheath present in wall of the blood vessel and the stomach and the intestine. They are involuntary in nature. Cardiac muscular tissue present in the heart and the cell junction fuse and the plasma membrane of the cardiac muscles and cell and the marked them at the stick together, and the communication junction or the intercalated disc at the some function point allow the cell to the contract as a unit. Muscle cells are branched and uninucleated. Neural tissue. Neural tissue exert greater control over the body and responds to the changing condition. Neural are the unit of nervous system, nervous tissue, and the neurological cell non conducting and the protect and support neurons, and the neuroglia make up more than one half and the volume of the neural tissue. Electrical impulse is connected through the plasma membrane of neurons. Earthworm morphological. Earthworm has long cylindrical body and the body divided into the more than 100 equal segments called the metamere, and mid dorsal line indicated the dorsal blood vessel, and the ventral surface is distinguished by the genital opening, and anterior and end consist of the mouth and the prostomium. The first segment is called peristomium, and which contain the mouth, and in mature worm segment 14 to 16 are covered by the dark and the band of the glandular tissue called the clitellum. Body is divided into preclateral and the collateral and the postclateral. Okay, external apparatus क्या होता है? The four pair of spermatical apparatus 5th to ninth segment, a female genital apparatus 14th segment, a pair of male gamete apparatus in the 18th segment, and the numerous nephridial ports on the skin of each segment, and there are row of S-shaped setae in each segment except first and the last segment, and the setae have principal role in the locomotion. Earthworm anatomy. Body wall, external wall, and externally covered by a thin non-cellular cuticle, and body wall contain the epidermis below the cuticle, and the epidermis is made up of a single layer of the columnar epithelial and with the secretory gland and two layer of muscular and the cellular longitudinal, and the digestive system क्या होता है? Alimentary canal is the straight tubes between the first and the last segment. Mouth present in the first segment and the mouth open into the first to third segment. Buccal cavity lead to the muscular pharynx, and in the fourth segment narrow esophagus 5th to 7th segment, and the muscular gauge 8th to 9th segment helping in the grinding and the digest food. Stomach extend into 9th to 14th segment, and the calciferous and gland present in the stomach and the neutralize and the acidic nature of humid acid and the present in the humus. Intestine start from 15th segment and the continued till the last segment. Okay, a pair of intestinal cases and the present in the 26th segment, and the presence of the internal median fold of dorsal wall of intestine and the called thigh floor sole, and between the 26th to 35 segment, and Typhlosorol increase the surface area of the for the absorption and intestine open to the outside and by the means of anus. Reproductive system of earthworm. Earthworm is hermaphrodite and the two pair of testes present in the 8th and the 11th segment, and the vasa differentia run up to the 18th segment and join the prostatic duct, and the two pair of accessory gland present in one pair and each in the 17th and the 19th segment. The prostate and the spermatic duct vasa differentia open to the exterior by the pair of female genital spore on the ventrolateral side of the 18th segment, and the four pair of spermatozoa are located in the 6th to 9th segment, and they receive the stored spermatozoa during the copulation, and the one pair of ovary is attached at the intersegmental and the septum of 12th and the 13th segment. Ovarian funnel continued as a oviduct and joined together and opened by a single female genital apparatus on the 14th segment. Mutual changes the sperm occurs and the mutation form during the mating, and the mature sperm and egg cell nutritive fluid are deposited in the cocoons and produced by the gland cell cytoclasm, and the fertilizing takes place inside the cocoon and which deposited the soil, and after 3 weeks each cocoon produces to 20 babies worms and development in direct without the larval stages. कॉकरोच के बारे में देख लो. कॉकरोच morphologically, the adult cockroach Periplaneta and the American are about 34 से 53 centimeter with wings extend and beyond at the tip of abdomen and segment body distinguished into the head, thorax and abdomen. Entire the body is covered by the external chitinous exoskeleton. Each segment has hardness plates called the scletals, dorsal trigeminates and the ventral trigeminates, sternites. Okay, and the successive serrates are joined by the flexible articulars membrane and anthodial membrane. Cockroach head is formed by the fusion of 6 ligament, मतलब हेड जो है 6 ligament के मिलने से बनता है, with the flexible neck and the head bears of a pair of compound eye and a pair of antennae, and antennae have sensory receptor, and head bears appendages meant for the biting and the chewing type of mouth parts. The mouth parts consist labrum, a pair of mandibles, pair of maxillae, labium, lower lip, medallion, flexible lobe, act as tongue, जिसको हम लोग हाइपोफैरिंग्स भी कहते हैं. Cockroach thorax. Thorax consists 3 parts: porothorax, mesothorax, metathorax. Each thorax segment bears of a pair of walking leg, and the first pair of wing arises the mesothorax, and the second pair of from the metathorax, and the hind wings are transparent, the membranous, and the meant for the flying. Cockroach abdomen consists 10 segment. The seventh segment is boat shaped, and along with the ninth and the 10th segment forms the broad and the genital pouch. Genital pouch contain female gonopore and the spermatical pores and collateral and gland, and in the male and the genital pouch bounded by dorsally by the ninth and the 10th terga, and the ventrally by the ninth sternum. Male bears a pair of anal style and the absent in the female. Anal cursi present in the both sexes in the 10th segment. कॉकरोच का डाइजेशन देख लो. Alimentary canal divided into 3 regions: foregut, midgut, hindgut. Mouth open into the shortcut pharynx and heading leading to the oesophagus. Oesophagus open into the sac-like crop, and which store the crop is followed by the gizzard and or the proventriculars, and gizzard contain the chitinous teeth and for the grinding of the food, and the entire the for the gut is lined by the cuticle and a ring of 6 to 8 blind and the tubules and the called the hepatis or the gastric cassia, and the present at the junction of foregut and the midgut, which secrete digestive enzymes. Juices, sorry. Midgut is a long tube-like structure, and at the junction of midgut and the hindgut, another ring of 100 to 150 yellow-colored the thin filamentous and the Malphian tubules are present. Malphigian tubules are meant for the excretion for the hemolymph. The hindgut is broader and differentiated into the ileum and colon and rectum. Cockroach blood vascular system. Blood vascular system is open type, and the blood vessels are poorly opened and develop and opened into the space and the called hemocoels, and the visceral organ located in the hemophiles, hemocoel, and the bathed in the blood and is called the hemolymph, and the hemolymph composed of the colorless plasma hemocytes, and heart is elongated multi-chambered funnel shaped and the ostia. Blood entered into the heart through the ostia and is pumped ant- anteriorly and into the sinus. 7. The hemocostal differential into the three sinuses: pericardial sinus, perivesical sinus, and the perineural sinus. Cockroach respiratory system. Respiratory system consists of a network trachea, and the trachea opens to the outside by the tenth pair of small holes and the called pedicles and the lateral sides of the body. The trachea gives rise to the braining and the tubules and called the tracheal tube, and with the subvideoed subdivided and into the tracheoles open of the spiracles and regulated by the valves, and the movement of air takes place by diffusion and directly to the body cell. Excretion. Cockroach excretion. Excretion is performed by the Malphian tubule, and the tubules is lined by the glandular and the ciliated cell. They absorb the nitrogenous waste and from the hemocoel and the converted into the uric acid and poured into the hindgut. Hence, the cockroach is the uricotelic in nature. The nephrocytes and the uricose gland also assist in the excretion. A cockroach nervous system consists of a series of a segmentally and arranged ganglia joined by a paired longitudinal double ventral and the nerve cord. Three ganglia lie in the thorax and the six in the abdomen, and head contain a bit of nervous system, and the brain is represented by the supraesophageal and the ganglion which innervates and the compound eye and the antennae. The sense organ are the antennae and the eye, of maxillary pulp and the labial pulp and the anal calls etc. Each compound eye consists of about 2000 hexagonal ommatidia. Each, each ommatidia forms a part of image and called the mosaic vision. Cockroach reproductive system. Cockroaches are dioecious, and the sex organs are also well developed, and the male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes and lying on each in fourth and sixth segment, and vast difference arises from the each testis and opens into an ejaculatory duct and through the seminal vessel. Ejaculatory duct open into the male gonopod and the situated into the ventral to anus. Accessory reproductive duct glands called the mushroom gland and present on the 6th to 7th segment. External genitalia represented by the male and the gonophysis and or phallomere. Sperm are sorted in the seminal vesicle and are gluated together in the form of bundle and called spermatophore, and which are discharged and during the copulation. 8th, the female reproductive system consists of two large ovaries and present in the second to sixth abdominal leg segment, and each ovary is formed a group of 8 ovarian tubules or ovarioles containing chain of developing of ova and oviduct of each ovary fused to a single medium oviduct or vagina, which is opened into the genital chamber. A pair of spermatheca and is present at the sixth segment, which open into the genital chamber, and sperms are the transferred through the spermatophore, and the fertilized eggs are the encased in the capsule and the ootheca. Ootheca is dark reddish and to black brown capsule about 3 by 4 long, 3 by 8 long, and on average female 9 to 8 ootheca, and each containing 14 to 16 egg, and development is the purometabolous, and that is developed through the nymphal and stages, and the nymph grows by the molting about 13 times to reach the adult forms. फ्रॉग क्या होता है? Frog belongs to the class Amphibia, and the most common species in the India is Rana trigrina, and they are cold-blooded animals. The body temperature varies according to the environmental temperature. They have ability to change their body color according to the environment, and the undergo hibernation and summer sleep, and the estivation winter sleep. Okay. Frog morphology. The skin is smooth and the moist, slippery due to the mucus, and dorsal body is olive and green with the dark irregular spots, and the ventral side of the body is uniformly pale and yellow colored. The frog never drink water and absorbed it through the skin and the hydroscopic, and body divisible into the head and the trunk. Neck is absent. On either side of the eyes membranous, and the tympanum represent the external ear and to receive the sound waves. Forelimbs and the hind limbs have in the swimming and the leaping and the burrowing. Forelimbs have 4 digits and the hind limbs strong and the have fifth digit. Four frog exhibits sexual dimorphism, and the male frog distinguished from the female frog, and having the sound produces the vocal sac and the copulatory pad, and the ampullary and pad on the first digit of forelimb. Frog digestive system consists of alimentary canal, digestive gland. Alimentary canal is a short because the frog are carnivorous, and mouth open into the buccal cavity that leads to into the also esophagus and through the pharynx. Esophagus is a short tube that open into the stomach, and which in turns continuous as an intestine. Rectum and finally open outside and by the cloaca. Liver secrete bile that stored in the gallbladder, and pancreas digestive glands produces pancreatic juice containing digestive enzymes. Food is captured by the bilobe tongue, and digestion of the food takes and by the place by the action of HCl, and the gastric juices secrete and the from the cell of stomach, and the partially digestion and food in the stomach is called chyme, and the chyme passed from the stomach to intestine jejunum, and the jejunum passes receive the bile from gallbladder, and the pancreatic juice from the pancreatic through a common bile duct. Bile emulsifies fat, and the pancreatic juice digests and the carbohydrate proteins, and the final digestion takes place in the intestine. The digested food is absorbed by the intestinal villi and the microvilli. Undigested food removed to the outside through the cloaca. Frog respiratory system. In water, frog respire through the skin, continuous respiration. Exchange of the respiratory takes place through the diffusion, and inland respire through the buccal cavity and skin lungs. Respiration by the lungs is called pulmonary respiration, and during the estivation and the hibernation, it respires through the skin. Frog circulatory system. The blood vascular system indicate the heart blood vessel and blood. Lymphatic system include the lymph and the lymph node and the lymphatic vessel, and the heart is three chambered with the two artery and one ventricle. Okay. Heart is covered by the membrane and called pericardium. A triangular sinus venous and the open into the right atrium, and it receive the deoxygenated blood through the vena cava, and the ventricle opens into the conus atriosus and on the ventral side of the heart, and form the conus atriosus, and the blood circulated to the different part of the body and the arterial system. The blood collected from the body to the heart by the venom system, and the spatial venous connection between the liver and the intestine is called hepatic portal system. Venom connection between the lower part of the body and the kidney is called the renal portal system. The blood is composed of plasma and cell, and but the blood cell erythrocyte RBC, and the leukocyte WBC, and the thrombocyte platelets. Okay, an RBC nucleated the contain the hemoglobin, and the lymph differ in it lack protein in RBC. Frog excretory system. Excretory system consists of a kidney of a pair of kidney, ureters, cloaca, and the urinary bladder, and the each kidney composed of several uniferous and tubules or nephron. The ureters arises from the kidney, act as a unique urinogenital duct and which open into the cloaca in male. In female, ureters and oviduct open separately in the cloaca, and the thin-walled urinary bladder located in the ventral to the rectum and open to a cloaca, and the frog excreted nitrogenous waste in the form of a urea, and hence ureotelic. Frog control and the coordination system. It includes the both nervous and the endocrine system. The chemical coordination is carried out by a hormone secrete and by the endocrine gland. Endocrine gland found in the frog and the pituitary gland, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pineal body, and the pancreas, adrenal gland, and gonads. The nervous system organized into the central nervous system, brain, and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system, cranial and the spinal cords. Autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and the parasympathetic. There are 10 pair of cranial nerves arises from the brain, and the brain is enclosed in the side cranium, and the brains differentiate into the forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain, and the forebrain included pair of olfactory lobe. ओके और इसमें दे रखा है ये ब्रेन जो होता है वो क्लोजली साइड होता है क्रेनियम के, और ब्रेन जो डिफ्रेंशिएट होता है इस पार्ट में मिड रिम में होता है, फोर रिम में होता है, और हिंड रिम, मतलब इसको तीन पार्ट में डिफ्रेंशिएट किया गया है। फोर रिम भी होता है इसमें पेयर्ड ऑल्फैक्टरी लोब भी होता है, और पेयर्ड सेरिब्रल हेमिस्फीयर अनपेयर्ड एंड ड्रेंसीफेलॉन. द मिड रिम इज characterized by the pair of optic IOPS, and the hind ribs consist of cerebrum and the medulla oblongata, and the medulla oblongata passes through the foramen of magnum and the continues as the spinal cord which runs inside the vertebral column. फ्रॉग का सेंस ऑर्गन देख लो. फ्रॉग हैज़ डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ सेंस ऑर्गन ऑफ टच, सेंसरी पिल्लाई, टेस्ट बर्ड, smell epithelium, nostril epithelium, vision eye, hearing tympanum, and the internal ear. Ear is well organized inside the orbit of skull, and ear is an organ of hearing, equilibrium, balancing. Frog male reproductive consists of a pair of yellowish and ovoid testes and test attached to the upper part of the kidney and the mesophreum, and the vasa vadentia are 10th to 12th number of arises from the testes, and they entered into the kidney and open into the bladder and the as canals. Bladder's canals communicates with the urinogenital duct and that comes out of kidney and open into the cloaca. Cloaca is a small medium that chamber is used to the pass fecal and the matter and the urine and sperms into the exterior. Frog female reproductive system include a pair of ovaries and present near the kidney, and the pair of oviduct arises and from the ovary open into the cloaca separately, and a mature lay 2500 to 3000 ova at a time, and the fertilization is external, that is in water, and development of indirect involved larval stages and called the tadpole larva, and the tadpole larval metamorphosis into the frog and adult. उसके बाद हमारा frog female reproductive system include the pair of ovaries present near the kidney and a pair of oviduct and arises from the ovaries open into the cloaca separately, and the mature female lay 2500 to 3000 ova at a time and fertilize external in water, that is in water. Development of indirect involves the larval stage in called the triple larva and the tadpole metamorphosis into the adult frog. मतलब दोनों का लगभग सेम ही चीज़ होता है, ठीक है ना, जो थोड़ा सा फर्क है कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So guys, thanks for watching video till the end and you are a part of journey of it. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye bye and see you next video.